Well, hello and welcome to another LinkedIn Live Q&A where I'm delighted to be joined by Zaid Hisham, who is joining me all the way from Beaverton, which is near Portland in Oregon, USA. And today we're going to talk about designing your life. So how are you doing, Zaid?
I'm doing all right, Paul.
Yeah.
How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. So it's we were saying before, it's 8 o'clock here in the UK. But what time is it over there?
It's about 1 p.m. It's like lunchtime over here.
Amazing.
Yeah. Hey, do you have black eyes?
Do I have black eyes? Why?
Yeah. No, your actual iris. Is your eye color black?
I think so. I don't know. No one's ever asked me that before.
That's so interesting.
So why is it black?
I don't know. I don't know why. Because that's one thing I talked to you last week, and I was like, that's crazy. I think he has really dark. His eyes are like his irises are like black.
Okay.
No, because it looks like you're wearing contacts.
Oh, right. Okay. Well, weird. Okay. I don't know. No one's ever. Do you know what? I mean, my eyes change color a lot, but I don't know.
Oh, really? That's cool.
Yeah. Sometimes
I wish I had that.
Sometimes they're brown. Sometimes they're green. Sometimes they're a bit gray. So yeah, I think they're called hazel eyes, but I don't know. I think that's what.
Because then you could pretend that you're eating, spice from Dune. Have you read Dune?
No.
You know, the spice, it changes your eye color, makes your eyes like blue or something.
Oh, right. Okay. It's a bit like David Bowie. So, David Bowie had different color eyes.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. So he had,
I didn't know that.
I think he had a blue eye.
But also I noticed that your name is Paul, like in Dune.
I'm gonna have to watch it. Do you know what? I've never seen the film, and I've never.
Main character, his name is Paul.
Oh, right. Okay. I'm gonna have to watch it.
Yeah.
So right, well, no one's ever started an interview like that. So yeah. So go on, right. So we're going to say a bit about you and this thing that you do. But for anyone, I'm going to share links to your website, and people can follow your profile on LinkedIn and stuff like that. But you've had a very long, distinguished career as an interaction designer, UX designer for some major companies, major brands. Am I allowed to say who they are or not?
Yeah, I mean, I worked at those companies. I wouldn't say that I was like a boss or anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but even so, like here in the UK,
oh god,
I think a lot of people in the UK would kind of look at who you work for, so like Microsoft, Expedia, Intel. You work for some major companies here in the UK. A lot of people would look at that and say they would love to work for a company like that, but they don't get the opportunity to work for a major company like that because they might have an office in London, but that's not really the main office or where the design takes place. But that experience that you've had and the people for working for those major companies and some of the other people that you've worked with in those companies has influenced what you're doing now. So talk about what it is that you're doing with this new that you've launched.
One of the places I worked, Expedia.com, I had to learn design. I had to learn their sort of flavor of user experience. So it's like I was learning design all over again. And the reason is they did design in a completely different way from what I'm used to because they were designing A/B tests.
Okay.
So it's actually designing for conversion rate optimization. And so that's what I've done in consulting. I've done some consulting with companies like Tentree and, just trying to optimize their site so that they lose less customers in that sort of e-commerce, designing for e-commerce, which means basically, how can we get more people to the checkout page? at the different points and different flows where people are shopping, what are the different things? What are the holes that are stopping them from,
Yeah.
actually making a purchase, buying something, and getting to that homepage or getting to the checkout page? And so, what I had to do was go back to something that I was interested in the past, actually, which is direct response, because they're the ones. The world of direct response is all about optimizing the sales flow, right?
Mm-hmm.
And getting somebody from getting something in the mail or looking at an ad. How do you get somebody to go from an ad in a magazine? Like
Mm-hmm.
when I was a teenager, I remember sometimes I would buy, like a self-published book from an ad from Black Belt magazine because I was into martial arts,
Mm-hmm.
right? So how is that ad written? Does it hit all the points that the person needs?
Mm-hmm.
And then when they get to wherever they're doing it, is it easy for them to actually make that purchase? Back then, you mailed in a check, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's no different here. There's just more moving parts when you're on a website, when you're on an e-commerce website. That's all. So I had to go back to that world, and I realized that I actually really liked that world. And so I went and bought a lot of books, and it helped me because I had to figure out how to keep my job. So because nobody was explaining it to me or helping me with it.
Mm-hmm.
So I would just read a lot or write. I wrote down every word people would say in meetings. I'll just write things down. I just had notebooks. I'll just write everything word down. I'm like, I don't know what that technical word means. I'm going to write it down, and then I go and Google it, and then it all came together. So so I actually I got a great education on doing user experience for e-commerce in that role.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
that's interesting because I'm not a designer. Like I don't have particularly good design skills, but I have
Yeah.
worked for a major company. So I've worked for Sage. Sage is the biggest business software company in the UK. It's a global accountancy, payroll.
Mm-hmm.
And what's interesting is, for some people, when they think design, they think making things look nice or pretty or attractive. But
Yeah.
sometimes the A/B testing that you're talking about to optimize for conversion can kind of go against what you might think looks good. Like sometimes that's quite surprising sometimes, isn't it? Where you think
Yeah.
this page, this website looks really good, but actually it's not converting. But if we change that button to a different
Yeah.
color, or if we move it to a different place on the site, the conversion rate is higher. So how, as a designer, do you find that easy to accept, or is there some sort of, does that go against what you think is a good design?
Yeah. Oh, for me, it was completely easy to accept because I came from a graphic design background,
Okay.
and part of the reason why, part of one of the things that got me more interested in strategy and user experience was that one of okay, so we had I worked for an NGO, a humanitarian NGO.
Mhm.
And one of our programs that we would fundraise for was orphan sponsorships. Pay $50 a month, pick a country, and you get an orphan. You get, updates, every 6 months or whatever. And we had an issue where I had redesigned this orphan brochure. This is back when people still got things in the mail. An orphan brochure 4 or 5 times, and we were going to do it again.
Mhm.
And I had been reading this book called Blue Ocean Strategy.
Mhm.
And so one of the things I also been reading some of Michael Porter. So Michael Porter is also foundational in the strategy world if you go and get an MBA or something, right? And I was like, I'd read enough of these people. I had read enough Seth Godin. I was really into Seth Godin back then. I'd read enough to understand, we're not delivering on what we said we were going to do. So the value proposition was not being we weren't doing that. So we weren't, people were sponsoring orphans, and orphan sponsorships were dropping. And I was like, it's not the colors. And I literally had a manager say, we need more colors on the brochure. We need more colors. And as a graphic designer, you're like, no, we don't need more colors. You need less colors. You need less whatever. Right. And so I was like, if I'm sort of typecast in this role as a graphic designer, no one's ever going to listen to me when I zoom out and I'm thinking about the actual business, and it was, so in that sense, being a graphic designer can actually be hard, because there's all these other parts of somebody's business that they aren't attending to. It's like, those TV shows like, Chef Ramsay has a show called like Kitchen Nightmares.
Yeah.
I love that show. And the reason why I love that show, because there's more to having a restaurant than, I cook food and then I charge for it. If the customer service is bad, you don't have a business, right? And so I understood from reading about business and marketing that a business has all these moving parts that interconnect, right? Like most people right now are not taking care of their customer service part. They think that can be automated. It can't. It can't, right? So, so if you're not handling the customer service part, if you're not delivering on your main value, why you exist, why you even exist, why you're different from other companies in the same space. If you're not doing that and just talking about it and say, marketing, social media, we're doing SEO, this is all nonsense. If you're not doing what you say you're doing, right? It's like people misunderstand, man. It's like, you can open up a coffee shop. Starbucks is not a coffee shop. It's not a coffee shop. It's a 5-minute hotel visit. If you don't understand what your business actually is, you can be on Instagram all day, and you won't make a dent in the world, and you won't touch people's lives the way people's lives are touched. I don't even like coffee, man. Starbucks is one of my favorite brands. I don't even like coffee. I don't like coffee, honestly. But I'm blown away by how much attention they spend on the customer experience. It's Disney for coffee. Starbucks is Disney. Starbucks is Disneyland.
Yeah.
To me.
Yeah.
It's 5 minutes in Disneyland. That's what it is.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. Yeah, amazing. I've not heard it discussed, but you're right. I mean, even people use it like a fashion accessory in Instagram. They've got their Starbucks cup. Just like, it's what does that say about them and their lifestyle? They've got to have it. But you're right. It's like, but it's the system, isn't it? It's the end-to-end process.
End-to-end, man.
Yeah, that's the thing. From the moment you walk up to the place, enter the place, to the moment you leave, and that's the whole process. It's been designed really, really well.
I eavesdropped on a staff meeting once at a Starbucks. I was there working. I eavesdropped on the meeting. It's just mind blowing, man, because they the meeting went like this. So the regional manager was like, sales at this store have dropped X percent, and it's increased, X percent at this other store down the street.
Mm-hmm.
That store is absorbing your business.
Mm-hmm.
So they know when customers are avoiding that store and going to this store. It's crazy. And they're like, because you guys aren't doing whatever rules process, they know they have to get X done in under 10 seconds. They know that you have to say, thank you, or would you like your receipt with that? It's Disney. I mean, basically, that's how they have it. Everything is down to the second, and they're optimizing the hell out of the customer experience. I'm not saying every business should do that and be that detail oriented, but big businesses with big moving parts, yeah, they have to do that. What I'm saying is that, man, you have to pay some attention to, like, are your people getting what they actually paid for? Did you actually told them? And at this NGO I worked at, it's clear that they were not. If you read the orphan reports, it's clear that it was just some person saying, "Oh, they're doing all right. They like drawing, and they like art. Yeah, all kids like drawing and art. What does that mean?
Yeah.
What is that like? You see what I'm saying? So there's an opportunity to improve the customer experience for like everything, for a NGO donor, for an auto shop. I worked at a company that made software for car dealerships, right? And we did a Google Sprint on improving the car service experience. When you pull your car into a service bay, and now like 5 or 6 apps that different employees in that whole system use, and they're really just one app. They're really just one app. And so we designed something that was more like Slack, really, right? That the service advisor, that the technical people can all use, and you could drill down to the details that pertain to your job. But all these things are in their different silos, and they don't share data. And if you took away all the apps, I bet the people could just talk to each other faster.
Yeah.
So what's the point of the apps?
Yeah.
Right? What's the point of the apps? Other than sales wants to sell another app. And a lot of user experience people get stuck in jobs where that is the deciding factor of what's being built. It's like, well, sales went out in the field and talked to the clients, and the clients would like, this to happen. And instead of saying, why is that? What's going on? What problems are they facing? They say, oh, let's build an app for that. And so you have what you have on everything. There's too much software.
Yeah, and
there's too much software, too many apps in the world. We don't need more apps.
No, and people don't really know why they're doing it. They're just doing it. Somebody had a bright idea. Like,
yeah. Very often in the world of user experience, you'll ask yourself, why are we building this? Why does this need to be an app?
Yeah.
Why is this an app at all? Right.
Yeah. Well, this leads on nicely to what you're doing, right? Because obviously, a lot of what we're talking about here is optimizing the experience and optimizing the process, so and designing something well so that it gets the desired response. Because it doesn't, like you said at the beginning, it doesn't matter whether it's a poster, a direct mail, a website, an email, anything. If what is the point of it? It's designed to get to elicit a certain response, right? So taking that into your own personal life, that's what you're doing. You're trying to help people design around their life and help them launch what their passions are and what they're really into. So do you want to explain how you're doing that?
Yeah. So so you probably read the 4-hour work week, right?
I haven't read it, but I know a lot of people quote from it. Yeah.
So I used to just play it over and over again on my headphones, right? Just or audiobook.
Mm-hmm.
And from that, you had a lot of people who sort of had this who imagined that, man, I could escape the sort of rat race, which is not really the rat race, but what they really mean is I could have more independence and choices in life.
Mm-hmm.
If you have that with the job you have, then that's great.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to come here and say having a job is bad. I have a job.
Mm-hmm.
It's not bad, right? Or owning a business with with employees is bad, or being a CEO, startup getting funding from VCs is bad. No, it's not bad, right? But there's a certain type of person. I think I'm that type of person. There's a certain type of person who wants a different level of independence.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, they don't necessarily want to run a company, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, like, the 4-hour work week touched on it, but it didn't go deep enough. So after that, you have hundreds of books on Amazon and dozens of e-courses, Facebook courses, where people are trying to approximate or dig deeper into what Tim Ferriss was talking about in terms of having a lifestyle business. And the word lifestyle business is even like a bad word now,
Mm-hmm.
because they're like, yeah, well, you can't really make big money off of it in order to get that level of independence. And because people, I think, really misunderstood what a lifestyle business is. You know what I mean? So I would say that you have a lifestyle business, that your business is centered around you, Paul, with your unique, special skill set and interests and things that you're passionate about, and that you can run your business on your own by yourself. And it's really not a new thing. I think the issue is that we skipped across like the normal world before startups. The normal world before startups, before everybody's working in an office. If you're a plumber, that's your own personal brand business. What I mean by that is that's you. That's your name, and you stand behind your work. That never changed.
Yeah.
So we keep renaming things because social media plays with your brain and says we have to make up this new word for something, right? But my dream client would be a carpenter. I found a carpenter on Craigslist a couple weeks ago who did amazing work, and he's a local in Portland. And I emailed him like, dude, we need to talk. I would love to work with you. Is one person who does just amazing heads down work.
Yeah.
And they're not on Instagram playing this magic game. That's all magic. They're not playing this game, a marketing game. Their work speaks for itself. When you walk into somebody's house and you're like, man, where did you get that table? I have to have that table. Oh, this guy, he works on his own. Have you ever seen these Japanese pottery makers or craftsmen, designers, people who work with wood, people who work with clay, and they just do amazing work, deep work, and they train for years on it. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And in martial arts, this is the same thing, right?
Mhm.
A person opens a school and they have a unique approach, and either they're good at teaching and people flock there and tell other people about it, or they're not good at teaching and they go out of business.
Mhm. Mhm.
And people did this before Facebook,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
If you're good, and this is what I really liked about Seth Godin when I started reading him in the early 2000s, is
Mhm.
he talked about this idea of, the best marketing is another customer who loves you so much they run around telling other people about you.
Yeah.
So what I want to do is I want to help people create that.
Mm.
I want to help people create something that is uniquely theirs, that comes from the inside out,
Yeah.
that you can't get. Stop buying online courses, stop joining masterminds, stop buying books. I bought all of them. I've already spent 20 grand of on all this stuff. All you're doing is having somebody teaching you what worked for them.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
when you realize, I, I, I realized this for myself. I read a book last year called The Big Leap.
Mm.
The
Mhm.
Big Leap.
Mhm.
Uh, by Gay Hendricks, and he talks about this thing called the zone of genius, zone of confidence, zone of incompetence, I think.
Right.
And zone of genius is like, what is the thing that you're just naturally a genius at, regardless of what you went to school for, regardless,
Mhm. Mhm.
regardless. Let's just throw all these made up qualifications that are arbitrary because somebody made them up.
Mhm.
Somebody made up what's a PhD in English.
Mhm.
Somebody made that up, so it's made up.
Mhm. Mhm.
Magic, so it's
Yeah.
more magic.
Yeah.
What do you love and what are you good at? What do you lose time doing? And when does your energy come out? Our coach David talks about what energizes and excites you.
Mhm.
When does that happen? When do you lose track of time?
Mm.
And I told this business coach, because I was trying to work there. I was like, dude, my fantasy business is if I could make a business around being live. Because when I'm live doing workshops, when I'm teaching,
Mhm.
when I'm with people one on one, and I realized this when I was in eighth grade and high school taking martial arts, and I would teach classes sometimes to little kids,
Mhm.
and then sometimes I taught older people. I stutter, and I realized, man, it's so strange when I'm teaching, I don't stutter.
Mhm. Mhm.
It's so weird. And I always wondered why that is. Because everything inside you all comes together, right? So everybody has that. Everybody has something. They may not know what it is, but I'm really good at helping people figure out what that thing is.
Mm.
So what I want to do is I want to make a business around coaching people and working with people and then implementing with people live. So for example, right? I always felt really bad that um, when I'm live with people, working in groups, working in class, like in school, I could get my work done. I was always really good at tests. I love tests. SAT tests, AP tests, put me in a test for an hour, make me write an essay for 2 hours, no problem. Because it's that timed, it's that time boxing and live.
Mm. Mhm.
If you give me homework to do, a science project, homework to do at home, I'm not going to do it. Anytime I had a class where it was dependent on me to write a paper or homework, forget it. Forget it. And I always felt bad. I'm like, why can't I study? I don't understand. Why can't I just sit down and study like other people,
Mhm.
you know? And maybe it's ADHD, I don't know. But all that disappears, it all falls away when I'm live.
Mhm.
So I
Mhm.
was like, I'm not gonna um so what I want to do is for myself, I'm doing this process with myself. I'm trying to figure out how to do a sales funnel where it's completely live,
Yeah.
where everything is like this, like we're doing this live call. You know, I would like to do live calls all day, live podcasts, whatever, and then have people contact me based off of those, and then we just talk. And then
Yeah.
after that, if you want to work with me, fine, we'll work something out,
Mhm.
right? Um, and I to me, it's all the same thing. I combine all those things. I combine the direct response, um, the sales copywriting, the user experience, my interest in that, that Starbucks, that customer experience. Like, how can we, how can we blow people away, right? I
Yeah.
have this list that I keep of all of like my favorite, you know, what I think of as breathtaking offers where somebody just on their own created something that changed your life, right?
Mhm.
So, for example, there's this guy named Michael Hardell. So, if you're a programmer, if you're in the dev dev world, developer world, you know who Michael Hardell is, right? Michael Hardell made this free course called I don't even know what it's called, but people call it the Michael Hardell course.
Mhm. Mhm.
That's how much his name stuck, and
Yeah.
whatever he called it didn't stick. You don't
Mhm.
even I can't even think of it. What he did was genius, like literal genius. Once you understand what he did, because if you people said I got my start as a programmer from that course.
Mhm.
That's an
Mhm.
amazing testimonial. That's an amazing thing to say.
Yeah.
That site did it for me. Like all these, how many programming books I purchased trying to learn programming,
Mhm.
right? And they all don't work because they aren't made by teachers,
Yeah.
and they aren't made by people who tried to backwards engineer what is the thing that people actually need to learn to
Mhm.
get the cadence and the flow of what a developer does on the job. So what he did was he used a framework called Ruby on Rails.
Mhm. Mhm.
Ruby on Rails.
Yeah.
He's not teaching Ruby on Rails. People who think that he was teaching you Ruby on Rails don't understand what he was doing. That's the genius part.
Mhm.
He was using Ruby on Rails because it's light enough. He was teaching you the workflow of programming on the job.
Okay.
That's the difference between buying a JavaScript book.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to learn JavaScript. Okay, I did all these exercises. What do I do with all this?
Mhm. Mhm.
What's all this for? What do I do with it?
Mhm.
So what he did was he said, let's hone in on what most apps need. You need pages, you need users, and those users need accounts. And they need some way to post, like Twitter.
Mhm.
So it's like, let's build a clone of Twitter. So what he's using is he's teaching you the hooks. I call them the hooks. What are the hooks? What are the little pieces you have to account for in your flow? Steps 1, 2, 3. I have to do this. An
Mhm.
app has this. An app has that. And what is the stack? That's another word for it. What's the stack of an app?
Mhm.
A book on JavaScript is not going to teach you that.
No.
So he teaches you the stack. All you have to do then is when you get to the job, you ask, oh, what is the stack on this job or for this team? Well, we use the mean stack. Oh, that's different from the some other kind of stack.
Mhm.
So he's teaching you how to think about apps, how to think about building applications. Genius. Nobody's done this.
Right.
Genius. So what I want to do is I want to help people do something like that in their world, whatever your world is. I want to help you map out your world and find how can we build something like that? Because when you build something awesome, the marketing takes care of itself. You don't have to, well, if you're not posting on LinkedIn this many times a day, if you're not posting on Instagram, that's dumb.
Yeah.
Nonsense. That's
Well, a lot of that's
nonsense.
It's polishing, isn't it? Really, it's just polishing, making it look shiny and making it look.
It's nonsense. Yeah. If what you do is awesome, people will run around like I'm doing right now, and they'll just tell other people, and they'll find you. They'll find you. Right? People ask Seth Godin, well, how do I find my customers? He says, no, you don't find them. They find you.
Yeah.
And they find you by you being amazing.
Yeah.
If you're not amazing, forget about VC funding. This whole it's a game. Forget about this game. Forget about the Instagram game. I follow people. I pay $100 a month for this newsletter called Email Players, and I get it in the mail. You will not find this guy on Instagram or Facebook or Twitter. You will not find him. But he makes millions. He's a one-man business. He just hones in on value.
Yeah, and he knows.
And sorry, go ahead.
No, go on. Sorry, I interrupted.
Yeah, and he's optimized his workflow and his business for him.
Yeah.
So that he can do his best to work. I'm working with this local coffee shop to improve their marketing. And she's older and she says, I just can't handle all the Twitter and Instagram. I'm like, then don't do it. Because part of your brand is how you show up in the world.
Yeah.
If it's unnatural and strange and tedious for you to be on Twitter, you're killing your brand by doing that. So don't do it.
Yeah, that's great advice. And then it goes back to really honing in on what you love doing and being clear, that clarity that you're talking about. And
that's our part.
So that guy that you're talking about there, about the email guy, he knows that's so in the UK we call it niche, but I think in America you call it niche. Do you say niche or niche?
Niche.
Niche, okay.
Yeah, niche. No, yeah.
Because I've heard the phrase, was it riches in niches?
Yeah.
So, but it is good to narrow down and really hone in on what you're really exceptional at, what you love exceptional at, and then you might get interested in other, but like most people don't know what that is. They don't really know what they
don't know. Yeah, and I didn't know either. I didn't know. So I didn't know, and then you're also gonna be in like denial. You see what I'm saying? So one, you don't know, but because most of us live inside our head. This is my problem, living inside your head, and you ignore your body, right? But if you asked me, well, what feels good, and I would say, what does that have to do with anything? You see what I'm saying? But when I was making, one of the things I did to build my UX network was I started a meetup. And I'm like, well, I like teaching. I'm going to make up random UX exercises, and I'll just bring a bunch of paper and Sharpies, and we'll just do it. And people loved it. And to me, I'm bewildered. I'm like, what? I don't get it. You see what I'm saying? So you may, people can sometimes deny those things because, uh, I spent the first half of my life avoiding talking to people as much as possible. So if you told me 20 years ago, hey, Zaid, you really need to just be in front of people talking and on calls with people talking.
Yeah.
If I'm like, that's the last thing I'm going to do is get on the phone with somebody because I would stutter through just ordering pizza on the phone. Forget it. I'm not going to talk. I'm not going to talk to girls in college. I'm not going to talk to anybody.
Mhm. Mhm.
I would avoid talking. So for the first half of my life, I avoided talking,
Mm.
and but I really looked up to and admired people who could get up and talk and give speeches. I used to be obsessed with TED.
Mm.
The TED Talks.
Mhm.
Oh my God! I was like, oh man, I wish I could do that. I
Yeah.
wish I could do that. And it's like what David tells us about. He says this thing like fear is the mask of desire.
Mhm. Mhm.
You
It's
see
good.
what I'm saying? And when
Mm.
he told me that, I was like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Because um, I do my best work when I'm live with people,
Mm.
when I'm sort of workshopping things.
Yeah.
Workshopping things. Let's workshop this. Let's work it out. Let's hop on Zoom and let's work it out together.
Mhm.
Things come out of my head that I will not come out if I'm by myself, heads down with my headphones on. And
Yeah.
that's how I used to spend half my life. I spent the first half of my life headphones on in high school, on the bus, off the bus, headphones on, music,
Yeah. So what
headphones on.
so what changed then? Why did you, or how did you, um
What changed?
yeah, what changed?
Yeah, I just got very frustrated, man, because I, being a graphic designer, I recognized that I did not develop the social skills that I needed to push through my ideas or get somebody's ear.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
that, when you're working in nonprofits, it's all personalities. Nobody
Mm.
cares what's right or wrong or what's true. It's all personalities because in nonprofits, nobody's measuring anything.
Yeah.
And that's why people's, the brochure needs more colors. We need more colors. Then more people will sponsor orphans because there's more colors.
Yeah.
How are you a manager?
Mhm.
But that's that's the world.
No,
I'm like,
yeah.
what?
Yeah.
Right? So nobody measures anything, and the only way anything ever gets done is that you have to set up meetings and be on somebody's behind and like talk, 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 talk. And all
Yeah.
my friends who were good at the talking part got things done.
Mhm.
Their initiatives and their projects got done.
Mhm.
And I was like, I have to I have to fix this.
Mhm.
And also,
Mhm.
I just had my first child.
Mhm.
So I'm like, I have to handle this. I have to fix this. And anyway, I happened upon the McGuire program, which is like a boot camp for stutterers, and that really changed my life because how they changed the approach of speaking into something that's really like a sport, like tennis, sports psychology.
Mhm.
This guy took from sports psychology opera, and he had to kind of do it in like hotels in certain states. And this is again value, 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 value.
Mhm.
He couldn't do this in most American states. The guy's from California, but it's blown up in the UK and India because the UK, the official made up speech therapy, speech and language therapy world says, well, you're not a licensed speech therapist. You can't. That's illegal. It's like practicing medicine without an MD. But it works.
Mhm.
And your speech therapy, I'm sorry to say, the speech therapy world has completely failed people who have speech problems.
Mm.
It's made up. It's a complete waste of time. And if you're a speech therapist, you should go and do something else because you're not helping people. But this guy helped people, and it blew up because people like me got activated,
Mm.
and they went around, and everybody who I meet, I'm like, hey, I notice. Hey, do you stutter? Man, we need to talk.
Yeah.
Because it's very possible that that person, and I met people like this, went decades in speech therapy and it just ingrained the belief that nothing works, that I'm doomed, I'm doomed, I'm doomed, I'm doomed. And that reinforces it, and it makes you depressed, and it just makes you hate life. You hate life, man.
Yeah, I'm so glad you did that because you're very articulate, and I think you're an amazing communicator. You've got, like, when you're talking here, this you haven't stuttered once in the meetings that we've had because
Well,
because you're talking about
I
things that,
do. I
well,
follow, yeah,
that's
I follow a speaking method.
okay.
That's
But
why.
But I'm just saying, like, what a shame that would be if you hadn't done that program, and you would have missed out on the opportunity to share your ideas and what you understand, your knowledge with others. And it just goes back to, it doesn't
Yeah,
matter, it's not a license, it works. So that
it
it's
works, man.
well designed, so it works. So it goes back to everything. Is like, it doesn't matter if people don't like it or he hasn't got the right credentials, whatever.
Yeah,
It works. So that's a well designed program.
yeah.
So yeah.
And they
So
have the worst marketing.
maybe you should do some marketing for them. Give them advice on it. And be
I want to.
get in touch.
I asked them, I'm like, please let me help you. Yeah, they have the worst marketing, or what people on LinkedIn. I'm a marketing consultant. Nonsense.
Well, we'll
I'm
have
a
to share.
social media marketing consultant.
We'll have to share this video with them, and then use this as a marketing tool for them about, because you've been saying how great they are. So I'm just going to quickly read out on your website. So it's
Yeah.
Zaid Hisham. So ZaidHisham.com.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you've got here, discover and launch your life's work this year. Are you doing your best work? Work that blows people away, where distraction, procrastination, and that imposter feeling all drop away. Work
Yeah.
that you look forward to, that brings all your natural talents and interests together and doesn't drain you. It actually energizes and excites you. If everything I just mentioned doesn't apply to what you're looking at now, then book a 30-minute call with me. So this is what you're looking for. You're looking for people who that resonates with. You want them to book a Zoom call with you, and you're going to talk them through the idea behind what this program that you're going to do. You want to help people,
Yeah, man.
not discover it inside, like unlock what it is that they're trying, that they really love doing, and what their passions are. So
Yeah.
so then what happens then if someone reads that and they fill out, they book a call with you through Calendly?
Yeah. Yeah. I currently trying to support people like 6 months to a year. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I what I've been doing is like almost like kickoff workshops where we get everything out in like 2 days,
Mm-hmm.
like on the weekend, and then after that we do like weekly calls, and weekly calls with me because I'm trying to kill this whole ADHD, like procrastination, distraction sort of cloud in your head, and just
Mm-hmm.
say, hey, I have this issue too. I'm not going to give you homework because I know you're not going to do it because I wouldn't do it. Let's work together on the Zoom calls every week. It's like working together. Like let's do it at the same time.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's okay that you haven't done anything all week because I know I have kids, I have a wife, I have a full-time job.
Yeah.
But if you can come on with me Thursday or Friday night for 1 or 2 hours, we can get a lot done because I'm really good at pulling away this sort of design, pulling away all of the nonsense. And I've been talking for the past hour. I think most things are nonsense, and I'm like, we don't have to do that. 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 Let's just do this and do this over and over again, because from this we can branch off and reuse it and recycle. I like the idea of recycling and reusing. So I'm not going to make you do a bunch of stuff that you have to do again, over again, right? So yeah,
love it. And who is it for anyone? Like, are you like, or is there a certain type of person or a certain type of business that you're hoping will do it?
No, it's for anyone, man. I mean, it's for anyone who's had the same like sort of blocks that I've had in my life, where you've maybe done things for the wrong reasons, maybe you've gone to a field for the wrong reasons, and you didn't realize it, or you're just not feeling the energy. So, for example, right now, I'm more energized now than before we started the call, and I want to go out and like punch somebody. The level of energy I have, like, yeah. And most people have never. Most people have never felt that.
No.
I'm trying to get you to do that. So my dream offering, like, here's my actual dream offering. You meet me for like a week, and we go to the beach, and we like put on gloves and we punch each other, and we get sticks, and we do some martial. I have some martial arts drills for this. There's some martial arts drills. I'm like, dude, I can explain this concept to you in an hour that would normally take 2 days if I had to like do it with you. You like, boom, you'll get it. You'll get it instantly. Same hacks. Anyway, so we'd work together personally, man. Like, we'd work together one-on-one in the same space. We'd have some whiteboards, we have some paper. It's so much fun when you can sort of workshop things out in person. It's so much fun. It's so much fun, man. And we do it for like, I don't know, 2 days. I think a week is too much. 2 days. So you come and you meet me, and we work on it in a nice, inspiring office space. Because when you're in a good space, especially when you're away from where you live, you can think, your brain opens up a little bit, right?
Yeah.
So you have to go to me. Okay, think about this. What's the first Batman? Batman Begins. I'm the guy on the mountain.
Yeah.
You have to trek to me, and I will turn your life inside out. That's how I think of it. And I will tell you whatever you need, but you need. So it depends on the person. Different people need different things. Like Ra's al Ghul, I think that's his name. So he tells Bruce Wayne, your parents' death was not your fault. You see what I'm saying? That's something he needed to hear.
Yeah.
And then he turns it upside down and says, it was your dad's fault.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then he gets mad. You see what I'm saying? He needed to get mad. And so there's a lot of people who never exercise that level of assertiveness and boundary setting in their lives.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of what people's problem is.
Yeah.
They have never they don't know what a boundary is. Am I doing what I'm doing because I want to do it? Is because my wife or my parents expect me, or I think that somebody thinks that other people think that I should do this thing.
Yeah.
They've never even asked themselves, What do I want?
No, most people haven't. I mean, I know like last year, the last 12 months or so, well, a little bit longer than that. That's what most of last year was for me. The beginning of it was like getting really clear. What is it that I actually want to do here? Like, who am I? What motivates me? What inspires me? What it like? I kind of knew, but I didn't really know. And I was doing things because I felt.
Yeah.
I thought I was free of all of that, but I wasn't. I was still
Yeah.
doing things because it was expected, or I thought that other people wanted me to do it. And also, once you've achieved a certain thing, you create some expectation there as well that you're going to keep on doing that same thing. So that's the level where, like, you know, I created something out of nothing. You know, this big event, and then, oh well, that was good, so I'll do it again. And then people expect that you can keep doing it forever and ever, and then it becomes a bit of a not that you like. I still loved it, but it was like, well, do I still love it? Like, do I want to do this for the rest of my life? Not really. Like, I've kind of done 3 big amazing events, but I want to do other things as well. So, but getting really clear.
Or you hit a wall doing it where I'm like, this isn't worth doing anymore.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. No, I get it because a lot of people that I deal with as well, they've never really stopped to think about why they did, or maybe they did start their own business because they love doing a certain thing, but then the other things that come with that they don't love, and they end up doing so much of the other stuff that they're not actually doing the thing that they love anymore. So, you know, I've been doing a bit of coaching with people as well, and the first day that I spend with them, it's like an hour each day, but the first hour is getting them to talk about what inspires them, what motivates them, why they do what they do, even down to what music they like to listen to, where they like to go. Like, getting them in that mindset, and then from that point onwards, every day after that is holding them to account to what they've said they want to do, what they want to achieve, and what they love, because there's so many distractions and so many demands on everyone's time that if they're not careful, they're so busy doing things for other people and not doing things for themselves.
Yeah.
So I love what you're doing, because it's very aligned to what I'm trying to do.
Yeah. And again, like I said, most people, I've met people who have never even thought about that. What do you want? And when you ask them that, they just list off a bunch of things like, oh, money, prestige. I want to be loved, and you know, I want people to look at me highly. And like, what does that mean, right? But if you're raised like that, and you were raised without boundaries, and you were raised to just satisfy other people's expectations, you know, one of the things like in graphic design is people who got really fascinated, like me, people who got really fascinated with David Carson, and you see a guy who just designs whatever the hell he wants. Brief, there's no design brief. He just, companies pay him tons of money to just do whatever the hell he wants. And then he gets to surf the rest of the time. And you look at that life and you're just like, what the hell? And then you look at his work and it makes you cry. Like, if you've ever seen people comment on his work, like, you'll cry because it's the dream of a graphic designer.
Yeah.
You'll cry. You'll be like, I can't believe somebody is able to do that level of indulgent work. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. And most people have never met anybody like that.
No. It goes back.
They've never even met anybody like that.
No. There's a designer I used to work with who, I don't know if it's the same guy, he sounds similar, but he talked about a designer who would work for a year and then he would go off on holiday for 2 or 3 years or whatever. And then, have you heard of that guy?
He has a long name. He's from Europe.
Okay.
I don't remember the name.
Right. But
Oh,
that time off. Yeah, go on.
Stefan Sagmeister.
Okay, yeah, that sounds about right. So, but that,
Sagmeister.
yeah,
7 years on, 1 year off. He closes his studio. That means everybody else at the studio has to figure out what the hell they're going to do as well for a year. That's so awesome, dude. That's like the awesome thing.
yeah. But that time off is it's not he's not on holiday. He's soaking up ideas and inspiration,
Yeah,
and then that gets put back into the work that he does, and that's what people are paying him for those ideas. I mean, that's amazing.
yeah. And if you look at people like David Carson, um, Tomato in the early 2000s, that was an agency. Stefan Sagmeister, you see that my boss or my manager would never accept that,
Yeah.
would throw that work right back at me and say, "What the hell are you doing? What is this? What does it mean?"
Yeah.
But that's the work that when you're at the music store, because I used to spend hours at the music store
Mhm.
looking through albums and CDs and cassettes, and those things jump out at you.
Mhm.
That kind of work jumps out at you, and you're like, "What is this? What the hell is that?"
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you mentioned Seth Godin before. I'm a massive Seth Godin fan as well. But
Oh yeah,
he's got a course on is it Udemy? Udemy?
yeah,
It's
yeah,
like
yeah.
it's the Seth Godin's freelancer course, and I've done that, right. And at the time, it was the wrong time to do it because I was still in a job and I was wanting to be self-employed, so I was kind of dabbling a bit, but not like it would make more sense to do it now, right? But a lot of that is all about, well, okay, there's loads of freelancers out there. There's lots of designers. There's lots of creatives. People do this, but what makes you exceptional? What makes you stand out? So that it's like, oh, we have to have Paul Lancaster. There's nobody else that can do this job. We have to have him, or we've got to have Zaid Hisham. Nobody else will do. We've
Exactly.
got that's, and if you want to be exceptional and you want to be that another level, what does that take? And
Yeah.
so that's what
Yeah. Here's the test, man.
Uh-huh.
Do people cry?
Well, when I when I do,
After they work with you? That's the test. Do people
I don't
cry?
know.
That's it. Honestly, you're like, do they say things like, "You saved my life"? Oh, Patrice O'Neill was a comedian. He passed away when he was really young because he was really overweight.
Mm-hmm.
And he is known not for necessarily for his comedy. He's known for a radio show he did about, I would say, 15 episodes of, 15 2 to 3 hour episodes. I think the Black Phillip show. And his show was about men and men's issues. And if you if you look that show up on YouTube, read the comments. I love comments. Read the comments. People say things like, "That show saved my life."
Yeah.
"That show saved my life," or "That show saved me from a lot of heartache when I was young and dealing, So that's the test for me, is like, when people talk about your service to other people, do they tear up and they'll be like, "I was lost or I was drowning and this guy saved my life, man."
I don't know. No one's ever said that. Do you know what? Ultimately, I think what I'm doing and what I think I mean, correct me if I'm like, it's about making a connection. That's what I like doing, making a connection, whether like one-to-one connection with someone. Like, I know that when I'm with someone, I like bringing out the best in them. I think I'm good at that, bringing out the best in them.
Yeah.
And that brings out the best in me. So yes, I'm comfortable with groups and and I'm on stage doing it, but actually one-to-one is where I'm at my best.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
That's good, man.
Yeah, and whether that's in person, doing an interview like this, doing a podcast, social media, whatever it is, it's that one-to-one connection to make people, yeah.
Uh, another test is, so me, I could do this all day
Yeah.
and I'm not tired. When I close this and go back up to my wife and kids, I'm a completely different person.
Yeah.
I'm like James Stewart at the end of It's a Wonderful Life. Like
Right.
running around, Merry Christmas, everybody, Merry Christmas. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And my wife is like, why are you talking so loud? Why are you acting all crazy? Did you just go drink some coffee or something? What happened to you? She always says that. And I go and I kiss my kids and I hug them, I squeeze them. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
After this kind of work, after, I'm not drained. I don't want to go to sleep. I want to go out and run around.
Yeah. Well, that's when you know that you're doing the right.
That's when you know you're doing your best work. Exactly.
Yeah,
I want to help people find whatever that is for them. What is that? Because if you can find that, people will pay you whatever, man.
Yeah.
You will find people who will pay you $100 grand. Like there's, to like work with me for a year. I need you. Work with me for a year. You will find people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. Well, that's why you've got to keep doing this, and that's why I wanted to do this live interview with you, because
yeah, man.
From the conversations we've had, I knew that this is what you needed to do, and people needed to see you in action and
yeah.
So, yeah, man. So we'll just say the website. So the website again. So Zaid Hisham. So ZaidHisham.com. And if people are interested, they literally just have to enter their, it's a Calendly. They can just book an appointment with you.
Oh, yeah, or just ping me, or just send I'm on LinkedIn. I check it at least once a day.
Yeah.
So if you ping me on LinkedIn, send a connection request. It's the same thing. We can chat, and then we just book a call, and we just talk.
Yeah, man. I love it.
We just talk.
Love it. Well,
yeah, man.
I think you're trying to help people find their life's purpose, but I think you found it yourself by doing it. So you've got to keep doing it. All right.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's important to me in my life that I help people.
Mm-hmm.
Like, when I was doing graphic design at the NGO, I thought I was going to be there forever. Like, I'm like, oh, maybe this is my life.
Mm-hmm.
I like anything where I'm actually helping somebody. And that's why a lot of user experience people, I think, get demoralized.
Mm-hmm.
Because why are we working on this feature?
Mm-hmm.
Like how is this helping anybody?
Yeah.
And a lot of the apps that people look up to, sadly, a lot of the apps that we may be live streaming on right now, a lot of the apps that people look up to in UX, they're like, oh, I love to work at Facebook and Twitter. I love to work at Google. A lot of these things, your life would actually be better if they didn't exist at all. At all. Honestly. Yeah. If you think about true user experience, what makes somebody's actual physical, emotional, psychological life better, everybody would actually be better off without Facebook and Twitter. You'd be better off just calling somebody and saying, "Hey, let's chat for lunch." Yeah. I'm sorry, but
yeah. Well, there's I can never remember his name. There's a guy. This is really bad. I'm gonna try and bring him up. There's a guy who talks about one of the biggest problems in the world. Naval. Do you know Naval? Is it Naval?
Naval Ravikant.
Ravikant. Do you know
him?
Yeah.
Naval. Yeah. He's cool.
He's an amazing guy. List his podcast, so his videos, but he's like he's a mega successful entrepreneur,
Yeah.
investor, but philosopher as well, right? But I listened to an amazing podcast, and he was talking about weaponized distraction.
Yeah.
Weaponized distraction being
Yeah.
problems we have to contend with, where the media and technology is deliberately trying to distract you from the thing that you want to do. So that again, that's what you're helping people do, and what I'm trying to help to do is get that clarity and focus on what it is that they're trying to do, and like get away from all this other nonsense that's distracting them from what their life's purpose is and what they want to achieve. So
Yeah. It would help a lot of people if the internet got shut off for a couple weeks. Your life would get better, honestly. Yeah, it would.
Yeah.
Take a break from it.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we wouldn't be able to do interviews like this. That'd be a shame.
I know.
But
again, with my dream, like my dream is that I have the addresses of I have the mailing addresses, and I'm sending you notes.
Yeah.
I'm writing something down. Here's what I thought of. Here's my design idea. Here's what I thought of for your brand, and you're getting things in the mail because people like getting things in the mail. It's fun.
Yeah.
So, is that if the internet shut down, it would be like that movie, the Postman. The Postman. People need the mail. I'm going to deliver the mail, even if I get killed trying to deliver mail. Right? Is that you can still be like, send people a note and say, meet me in Idaho somewhere. Let's rock and jam.
Yeah. Love it, man. One day we'll have to meet up. We'll have to do that. We'll have to meet up, and we'll have to spend a day or two in some really cool place, and just work on something together. We'll have to do that.
Yeah, we'll just jam. Early on, man, when I was interested in design, I emailed this guy named G Monk because he did all these crazy motion graphics work. And back then in early 2000s, motion graphics work was like the hot thing. And I emailed him like, how are you doing this, man? And he got back to me. He said, you have to jam.
Right.
It's not a process. It's like a rock band that's jamming and you're just coming up with stuff. You throw it together. It's that creative spirit that just comes out of you just jamming together with other people. So to me, if people work with me, I say, let's jam. It's jamming. It's not a linear process. It's not a line. It's like this.
Yeah, it's jamming.
That's how working with me is. Working with me is like this.
Yeah,
well,
I love that. Well,
linear.
It's
jamming.
jamming.
Yeah, you have to jam.
It's jamming. It's riffing. It's
yeah.
No, I love that. Actually, just
I should use that on my site.
That's fine. Do you know? I shouldn't be. Well, why not? I'm promoting someone like masterclass. Do you know the masterclass courses that you can do? Have you ever seen that? There's like some tutorials. So Timberland. Do you know Timberland music producer?
Yeah.
So masterclass. I haven't signed up for it, but I'm thinking about it at some point, right? But I don't need it right now. But anyway, there's some really cool people. But I saw a trailer for the Timberland class. Well, I used to be a DJ producer many years ago, right? But Timberland is awesome, right? But if you watch the video, the trailer of him talking about what his course entails, that's exactly what he is. He's jamming. He's just having fun. He's just excited. He's just like, anything can happen in the studio.
Yeah, and that's this. Okay. This is what a design sprint actually is. This is what people don't get. Oh, Google design sprint. It's a new method, a new process. It is not new. It is a bunch of designers getting in and putting your best work out there, and we're going to just jam for a week. And anybody else, stakeholders, product people, dev team, you jam too. You put your stuff in there because taking a break after this. It's the timed jam. We're going to jam for a week, and then we're going to stop. And then what we end up with at the end of that week, that is what's going out. That's going on the album. So you better get your stuff in here, engineers. You better get your stuff in here, PMs and all these other people, salespeople, BAs. Better get your stuff in here. That's all it is. It's just a jam. And why it's hard for people is that a lot of people are afraid of saying, I don't know, and afraid of saying no, and afraid of just trying things, and afraid of looking dumb and putting things out there. That's what is going to stop most UX people from doing their best work, is they aren't able to say, I don't know, because their parents and teachers punish them for saying, I'm not sure if this is the right answer, but here's what I think.
Yeah.
That's your actual problem. That's why most UX people suck. That's why.
Yeah, because they think that they're meant to be the expert, so they've got to get it right every time.
Yeah. You have to be the professional non-expert on a team and say, engineers, hey, this is a dumb question. Why does this have to work like this? Is there a reason why it can't work like this? And they're like, oh, I never thought about that. No, you're right. You're like, oh, okay, now go do it.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You're just poking holes at constraints. You're just poking. You're just doing this. Like that Seth Godin book, Poke the Box. A UX person is exactly.
Poke the box.
A UX person in essence is a professional, non-expert, play dumb box poker, and that's it.
Yeah.
You're not smart. If you want to show off how smart you are, don't be a UX person. Go do something else.
Yeah.
The worst UX people are the people who try to show off how, who hide behind, oh, let me show how smart I am. Clever. I'm clever. I'm clever. I'm clever.
Yeah.
Doesn't work. So you hit a wall. Boom.
Amazing. I want to jam with you now. I just want to keep talking to you. Yeah. I think we should leave it there for now. But
okay.
I think we should. I want to have another call with you about this, because I think there's
absolutely, man. Let's do it.
There's a lot more me and you should do together on this topic anyway. But I hope I hope lots of people will get to see this, and you get lots of people signing up for it as well. And I'm obviously going to be promoting it all over. It's on LinkedIn, it's on Twitter, it's on YouTube as well. I'll tag a few people in as well who I think who need to see this as well. So love talking to you. Thank you again for doing it. And what time is it now? Half two over there, is it? Half two?
Yep.
Yeah. So you've still got the rest of the day ahead of you. And it's only 9:30 here, so it's still early, but I'm gonna chill a little bit now. Listen to some music.
Yeah. You should go and do some spice, man. The spice with the eyes.
Well, the only thing is, in this country, spice.
Trades.
Well, in this country, spice is a nickname for quite a drug in this country. So I'm not going to do.
Oh, really?
No.
Which drug? Which one?
I don't even know what it is, but it's like, I think it's just called spice. But anyway, it's I'm not gonna do some spice.
Yeah.
I might have a coffee. I think I'm gonna have a coffee.
Oh yeah, coffee is good.
Yeah. All right, man.
That's good enough, man.
All right. Love talking to you. All right. Thanks, man.
You too, man. Thank you.